Hello, I'm Sue Shapcott from Change Golf Instruction. This week we are going to talk about a mental skill in golf, and that is how to deal with first tee nerves. I'm going to be joined by Kris Eiring, who is a sports psychologist here in Madison, Wisconsin, and we're going to talk about what first tee nerves are and strategies that you can use to help overcome them. I hope this is helpful. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post weekly swing tips, short game tips, and mental skills like this to help you improve your game. Okay, welcome Kris Eiring, Dr. Kris Eiring, who is a sports psychologist. Kris is going to help us work through some mental skills that you can use to help improve your golf game. So we kind of chatted about things that come up a lot, and we kind of narrowed it down, and today we're going to talk about those dreaded first tee nerves. So whether you're playing in a national championship, your club championship, or just in your friendly league or going out with some friends, then those first tee nerves can be quite debilitating. And Kris is here to give us the answer to how you manage them.
Thanks, Sue. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Yeah, first tee nerves. A lot of golfers talk about that and talk to me about it. So some of the common reasons people get nervous, as you might relate to, would be like perhaps who they see they're playing with or paired with, right? And worry that they might not be good enough. Or they look at the hole and they start thinking negative about the first hole being really hard and picture what they don't want to have happen. And then even just people like standing around, like they're worried about, not looking good in front of certain people, right? Very common.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's the recognition that, hey, that might happen ahead of time. And one thing I like to teach golfers often is don't be shocked if that happens. Like if it happens, sort of be prepared for it so you're not so off guard by it. And one of the very first things we want to do is just acknowledge it in our head. I've got first tee nerves, and that's okay. It's normal, it's common, but the more we try to fight it and not have it, actually we make it worse, because then we're stressed that we actually have it.
I think that's a good point, and certainly, when I was back playing a lot then, we didn't have such open discussions about things like nerves, and so you would kind of repress them. And the fact of the matter is, no matter how good I was and how well I was playing, then oftentimes I would stand on that first tee, I could feel my knees shaking, I could feel my heart pounding. And because no one talked about it, then we didn't really develop or I certainly didn't develop very many good skills to manage those nerves. But like you said, it is common. So the first thing is to realize it's not just you, probably everyone else who you're playing with is feeling the same thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're from Wisconsin maybe, or you live in a winter place sometimes where you sort of know like a snowstorm or a storm is coming, and so you put things in your car just in case. And I look at that as having tools in my head just in case this comes up, and not shocked by it. I'm prepared for it. And so one of the things that Sue said was like acknowledging it. We used to think that don't have it is the right way. Now it's better actually to acknowledge that you have it. And number two is, I think if you watch some of Sue's other videos, she talks a lot about your pre-shot routine at this, especially on first hole and other holes, but to really use that as a focus and to mindfully talk to yourself about those steps is a good pivot from talking to yourself about the nerves or what you don't want to have happen. So using your pre-shot routine as a good focal point. And then second, the words you tell yourself in your mind about this are so important. That it's okay, I'll get through this, your heart rate might be going, and that's okay, that's normal. So breathing, taking a nice long exhale, pausing, looking at your shot, and then in your head dialoguing positive about what you want. That means like instead of saying I don't want to veer left or hit the water, tell your mind what you actually want to have happen.
I like that. So let's say I'm about to go tee off. I know I'm gonna get nervous. I can start to feel my breath getting more shallow. I'm playing with people who I've never played with before. What are some practical strategies that I can use once I'm on the tee, once I've teed my ball up? I'm starting to feel the kind of biological responses of my body. What can I do from a practical sense?
That's a good question. I think breathing is huge. More people underestimate that sense of like using your breath to calm yourself and your heart rate, and to talk to yourself about your heart rate. Maybe it's a little bit about excitement, so reframe it too, that there's some excitement to be out here. I'm happy to be out here. Again, that's how you dialogue about it. And then also to realize that you can step back occasionally, right? And to gather it. But the best thing you can do is sort of narrow your focus to more specific points of your pre-shot routine and your words. So you might even have just a one word you say in terms of focus, relax. Sometimes I tell golfers to put an X here that just reminds them about that focus. And that way their mind sees that X and it reminds them of what their steps are.
Okay, good. All right, so I think the takeaway here is if you have first tee nerves, then kind of embrace them a little bit, talk about them.
Internally, yes.
Yep. How about acknowledging with your playing partners, hey, I am so nervous teeing off here. Is that useful in any way?
I think it depends who you're playing with.
Okay.
Right? And so if you're playing with friends or people you're comfortable with, absolutely. Hey, I've got these nerves again. What do you guys do? I mean, it's so common that that actually takes the power out of it. I think the more you acknowledge it, you take the power out of, you know, like not speaking about it or not wanting to have something.
Yeah.
And you make it more like real. This is real. This is genuine.
And I mean, although I always had nerves when I was playing, then it wasn't something we talked about, and we didn't work at improving them. But learning to deal with how your body is feeling, how your mind is feeling on the first tee, that is something that you can train and learn just like any other skill, right?
I think it's a skill. I really do, and it really requires practice. So confidence, we talk a lot about confidence. Bringing confidence to yourself on purpose rather than hope you get it for that first tee is one of the skills I work with some golfers on, because we sometimes hope we get it or we think other people have it and I don't, but it's really a skill that you actually work on. And I think it's also sometimes helpful to visualize yourself in that process. Like coming to the first tee, I might have these nerves. What will I do? How do I want to see myself? How would I look confident? So just have like a mental snapshot of how you'd like to be and see yourself do that before you actually go do it.
Fantastic. All right, Kris, thank you very much. Thanks for listening, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel.